Hello again, everybody. Welcome to the OCVarsity Friday night wrap-up program thing. Steve Fry here with Dan Albano. I'm getting ready for league games, man. I mean, I like all these non-league games. We've had some fun games, and it's fun to see some of the matchups. But I'm ready for league to get started. And going back, one of the fun matchups, Mission Viejo against Santa Margarita. Mission Viejo wins this game 28-23. I was at that game.
Lived up to the hype, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. It did. Not a lot of penalties in this game. We'll talk about your game, which had way too many apparently. But this game was a clean played game. A lot of good players out there. Gosh, I was impressed by a lot of guys. For the losing cause, Santa Margarita, Hosea Norwood runs pretty good. He's really fast, can move around out in the pocket, hit guys, and once he gets going, he's really super quick. For Mission Viejo, I'm impressed by, I think, Reese Height, number 14.
Yep.
He played really well on defense. Your offensive line was really good. Dan, they opened up the third quarter. They decided to run the ball, and they pounded it really nicely. 10 plays, like 80 yards, 9 of them runs, with Akili Arnold and Chris Mitchell looking great. Running behind a good offensive line. Elijah Griffin, great two-way player.
Yeah.
Tackle
Maybe the best
guys
two-way
who
player in the county.
Man, I tell you, makes great plays on defense and also catches the ball. Really good win for Mission Viejo, 28-23.
A couple of things. This is impressive for Mission Viejo. I mean, Fryer, look at this. Look at the last 3 weeks. Mission Viejo beating La Habra. Now, then they beat Long Beach Poly, and now Santa Margarita. I mean, what do you think that says about Mission Viejo in Division One?
They're gonna be okay. They'll be fine. They'll be fine.
And then the thing, I think it's a validating performance by Santa Margarita. I think a lot of people wonder, well, how good was Santa Margarita? How good was their schedule? They've been putting up monster numbers, and I think showing playing Mission that close within 5 points, I think it shows the Eagles are for real.
They're a good football team. Another Trinity League team is J. Sierra, who you saw beat Los Al. A little bigger than I thought, 32-10. I thought it might be closer.
So did I. But Jay Sarah's Malik McLean showed up to play tonight, and he was a monster. And Jay Sarah's defense the last 2 weeks is really gelling. And Malik's was a big force tonight. He had 2 sacks, including a safety, 2 tackles for losses, several hurries. He had a hurry that led to an interception return for a touchdown by Calvin Musette. But the big thing too, Malik's brother Munar was not playing tonight. The junior was out with a knee injury.
Yeah.
So guess who played? Now Malik's UCLA committed defensive end. He's probably 6'3", 230 pounds. They put him at wide receiver and featured him on the first play, first third down they faced, and he took a receiver screen. 79 yards, scored his first touchdown of his high school career. So congratulations to Malik. But I asked him afterwards, "Hey, is UCLA going to be playing at wide receiver?" I mean, this guy he runs like a 4.5, 4.6 at his. It's unbelievable how fast he is.
I already know who your defensive player of the week's going to be.
Yeah, and I thought it was going to be Malik McLean. But as I left Jay Sarah late, and I told Coach Baggerly and a few other Jay Sarah assistants, it's probably going to be Captain Phillips. Clark Phillips, sophomore cornerback at La Habra. 3 interception returns for touchdowns, 3 pick sixes. And even they said, as great as a game as Malik McLean had, you got to give it to a guy who's got 3 picks.
One of the more exciting games of the night was Catella 34, Ocean View 33. I was following this game on Twitter, went back and forth, forth and back, back and forth, forth and back. That's a pretty interesting game because Ocean View, I think they were 3-0 coming into this game, Dan, and looking like a contender in the Golden West League. And the Catella, they've been the class of the Orange for a couple years. Good comeback win by Catella. Since they lost to Kennedy, they've been on a bit of a roll, so kind of fun to see that from the Knights of Catella.
Catella just seems to find a way sometimes.
Yeah.
They find a way. They found a way last week against Westminster. But this is a validating performance by Westminster. We've been talking about it here on the wrap-up show. The Golden West League's looking tough.
Yeah.
And
it's going to be a fun league.
Ocean View was off to a great start.
Remember I told you, back in August, a coach of the year candidate that we got to talk about is going to be whoever wins that Golden West League. It's such a balanced league. I knew it was going to be a fun
league.
league.
Coach Nunez is doing a good job with the Seahawks.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff going on over there. And my boy Tagalo over at Segerstrom, too. This one kind of stuck out of me. Foothill is 0-4, man. And you know what? And that might be the best 0-4 team going. They played Brea Linda, who I think was winless too coming into this game. somebody had to get a W in this. And Brea Olinda, I guess that game went back and forth too. Low scoring game, 19-15. But Foothill, I feel sorry for those guys. I know they're better than 0-4.
Yeah, I mean, and then the Century Conference, the cross conference, it's tough. That's a very competitive. You go right to one of the big scores. It shows you how tough that conference is. El Medina,
right,
supposedly from the North Hills, the lower tier. I mean, look how well they played against Will Park tonight. They lost 35-28. I mean, that's another effort that shows the Vanguards are for real. I mean, they are really. I mean, that's a talented Ville Park team. So that whole conference is very competitive.
We both thought Irvine was going to be Laguna Hills, and Laguna Hills comes out of this one 31-28. Maybe they're getting a little bit better, and they're going to make a little bit of a noise in that CV League.
Coach Masarenka said they had a good week of practice. Yes. I was really leaning toward picking the Hawks on this one. I was almost picking the Ocean View Seahawks as well. But we're talking about all these teams that are improving. Interesting. We didn't talk about it on our prediction show, but last year Laguna Hills beat Irvine like 40-7 or something like that. Look how close it is this year. So Irvine's gotten a lot better too.
Who's the second best team in the Pacific Coast League? Is it Woodbridge? Because they've been playing well lately.
Maybe Woodbridge or Irvine or Uni.
Yeah, and I'm going to go see Uni next week. I think they play Ocean View. Is that the game? Yeah, I think that's the game I'm going to be at next week. Another score that kind of interesting was St. Margaret's 48-7 over Laguna Beach. I thought St. Margaret's would win this game. But that margin kind of makes me go, wow, St. Margaret's, how seriously do we take them as in the top 25? I know they're in there.
Yeah. I think it shows what playing good competition will do for the Tartans.
Right on.
Look who they played the last 2 weeks. The Bishops, Valley Christian. That's how you get better. And I think it showed, no disrespect to, the Breakers.
The Breakers. You almost said the artist, didn't you?
No. I've covered too much Laguna Beach water polo.
Yeah, I guess so.
I can't get that one wrong.
All right, well, we had a fun time covering these games. Boy, I was impressed by Mission Viejo. You saw Jay Serra, 32-10 over Los Al. Orange Lutheran, Holinsky, the quarterback, had another big day. 303 yards, 4 touchdowns.
Very accurate passer. 28 of 34 for 300 yards, 4 TDs. Brendan Costello had a very accurate night too. San Clemente got a hard-fought 14-0 victory over Palos Verdes. He was 16 of 19. I mean, these guys are really accurate.
That's a road win too for San Clemente. All right, well, that wraps it up for us for tonight, this Friday, which is September 22, almost September 23, according to my watch. That's right.
We've got one more week for our non-league games.
Yeah, and actually there's a couple good ones next week, but I'm ready for league. And hey, we're still going to cover those non-league games next week as best we can. Thanks for hanging out with us here again at OCVarsity.com, the OC Varsity section. We will talk to you later on in the week.